about. So yeah, so today we are going to talk about Fabulix HCI, which is an hyperconverged infrastructure, is the answer for autonomous infrastructure, basically for taking care of the complete infrastructure from end to end. And my name is Pradeep Gandikota. I take care of the technical part and pre-sales designing and architecture team. So in this today's webinar, we are going to discuss about the various, I'll say, the features and functionalities along with the techno commercials. So and the next slide will be, we are going to talk about, I'm going to play a small video as per the index planned. So, but we will also share the link where you can go to YouTube and then you can type Fabulix HCI, so that you will find the video where you can go through it. And after that, we are going to talk about the unique values of what is HCI and how the end users and what all the advantages and the benefits that they get, and introduction about the Fabulix HCI and various models, deployment models, and positioning of Fabulix HCI and the architecture. And then we talk about hybrid and cloud integration together and with the multi-cloud environment. And we talk about features, finally use case, and we touch base not more than 2 to 3 minutes on Fabulix Service Manager. And in case if anybody would be interested to know more about Fabulix Service Manager, so you can get in touch with DVCom, or you can also post it in the chat. So we'll address that. So Fabulix HCI is I'll say it's an end-to-end solution for any kind of an organization. There is no restriction from only for this vertical or for this business functionalities. It covers all the feature, all the business, I'll say, use cases, and for various departments and verticals, including the enterprise sectors. So Fabulix HCI comes in a single rack where it comes the top of rack firewall and switches and compute with the direct attached storage that has a single solution provided by Fabulix. And so you will get the support from the Fabulix team. And it is basically, it provides the great value on the deployment. So normally it doesn't take more than a week to configure the full setup. So within a week, the environment or the solution will be fully up and running for the production where you can move. And it is moreover, it actually comes as a plug and play. So we ship the whole solution to the customer location where they can start once they power on. So all the as per the requirements that we gather, it will be fully loaded, and you can start from the day one when you got the solution in place. So it majorly it reduces the data center footprints from multiple racks to a single rack with the multi-tenancy architecture and design. And it also reduces the complexity in the infrastructure, where so it eliminates all the complex integrations. It comes as a whole solution, right? So where it's once again, it's very standard infrastructure and very standard architecture in terms about like a person who is trained will be able to address or will be able to take care of all the complete solution, including the firewall, networking, and also the compute and storage. That is how it is designed. And again, it's not only the standard, but it is also very, I'll say, simplified operations in terms of getting the infrastructure up and running and maintaining the whole infrastructure for multiple instances or multiple environments, including the server and VDI, and also for high performance, low performance, everything can be covered. And it can be also, I'll say, you can prioritize the instances which are running on Fabulix HCI. And in fact, in case if the organization wanted to redeploy with the latest operating system, or to upgrade the operating system, it's as simple as completing the whole upgrade within a week, based on the number of nodes. If it is a like we talk in the upcoming slides, we talk about the what is the deployment model and how many nodes it comes and where it starts and what is the standard, and till how much nodes we can extend, and how the DR setup works and all. And even for the maintenance perspective, in case if you want to put the infrastructure or the environment into a maintenance mode, so the instances will be up and running without taking the downtime. You can complete the maintenance, which can be it could be preventive maintenance, or it could be upgrade maintenance, or it could be patching maintenance. And finally, the support comes the support comes from our international NOC and SOC team, who will be sitting across the globe from the multiple regions, from the multiple locations, where you will get the directly support from them. So the 1 year ROI we'll talk about, because the whole solution comes as a single platform, or a single product. Along with that, you will also get the Fabulix Service Manager, which is an enterprise grade ticketing solution, which is compliant with the ITIL process. So introduction about Fabulix is like we have a total of 2 models. One is on-prem and another one is cloud, is nothing but edge, right? And on-prem, you will get the rack, as I mentioned, rack, compute, storage, and firewall. You can also do the backup storage, not only for the backups, but also for the HA storage, in case if you are, if anybody looking at high dense storage, where we can go up to 1 petabyte with a fully providing high availability, and also for redundancy. So the edge compute, where it's nothing but you can call it as a cloud, because we are going to deploy our or we are going to implement our cloud, I'll say, within a city based on the location. We can go, like, you can feel the servers or the instances which you have created in Fabulix Edge. You will feel like the servers or the instances are running next to your server room. So that is the level of latency that we are providing. It is very low latency and providing the high performance. On it depends on like we have a multiple like I'll say the services model, where we can offer infrastructure as service, platform as service, and software as service on our products. Like we have a various products which we handle, which we developed, and from those products which we can offer it as a SaaS-based platform. And we also provide backup as a service, and also the DR as a service. So again, in the DR, we have an active DR service, and then passive DR service, where it is same between the active DR and the passive DR. But the only difference that you will feel is in case if it is a passive DR, which means that it takes a few minutes to to switch over from your primary to DR. But in case if it is an active, you don't even feel that your primary data center or primary server or primary infrastructure is down at this moment. So those are all the two models that we have. As I mentioned, one is on-prem and another one is cloud. And for both of them, the management stack will be the same, where we have a cloud manager and we have a service manager and infrastructure orchestration, where it takes care of automatically by, let's say, uh, resolving few or resolving the L1 and at this moment L1 instances, where you can say that when the server is down at that moment. So in case if it is a storage, if it because of the storage, if the server is not accessible or the server is slow, so which means that the service manager is intelligent enough to automatically provision the storage to extended the buffer level, and it will be the server or the instance will be turned on automatically. So those kind of tickets will be taken care by infrastructure orchestrator. And finally, the integrated hardware, where the software defined networks and the NDPM module and DNS DHCP are integrated together with the hardware, where you don't need to create any instance for to maintain the DNS or DHCP even to next level on software defined networks. So the NDPM module is it's a network data policy manager, where it takes care of basically the packets, where it is going, and then what is the packet speed, and you can configure the policies. All these things will be taken care by NDPM. So in this slide, we are going to talk about purely on-premises. So one is hyperconverged infrastructure, and another one is converged cloud. Both of them are on-prem models or on-prem deployment models. But only the difference is for HCI, the cloud integration is optional. In case if you want to integrate to the cloud, you can integrate, or else it's not a mandatory. But whereas with the converged cloud, integration to cloud is mandatory, where let's say you have an Azure subscription, you can use the existing subscription, and you can integrate and you can manage the servers to and fro from cloud to on-prem and on-prem to cloud. And when it comes to the node configuration, so I'll say with the HCI, 3 nodes are minimum, or I'll say it's a standard. And again, with the converged cloud, it's 4 nodes are standard. But you can also on HCI at least we can start 2 is mandatory to start, and 3 is the standard. And from there, we can go up to 64 nodes in a single cluster. But we haven't stopped there. We can also create a multiple clusters and open the communication between the clusters, and you can migrate the servers from one cluster to another cluster. So here you can see the Fabulix node configuration. So we have 2 models. One is with the standard models. One is with the 1U chassis, and another one is with the 2U chassis. So where you can the processor will be the different, where you will say I'll say the cache is a little different, but whereas when you say the compute and storage will be same. But in case if you want to decrease, like let's say right now in the 2U chassis, where you can see 768 GB of RAM, which includes distributed across the 3 nodes. But whereas in the 1U chassis, it's optional, where you can say that, okay, no, I wanted to decrease, or I wanted to go with the very minimal RAM. We can also go with that, and including the storage, and also for support and operating system. Whereas with the 1U chassis, it's an optional, where you can go up, we can use either 2019 or 2022, in case even the Azure HCI operating system you can use. So you can see, so Keshav, you can see the full screen, right?
Yes, we can see that.
Okay.
Pradeep, can I just ask you to give a little basic overview about HCI and Hyper-V, as we, most our partners are not doing infra as in priority right now. So we are introducing Fabulix to them. So if you can do that.
Yeah, please go ahead.
No, I want you to do that, just elaborate HCI and its, usages.
Okay. So HCI, before I directly jump on to HCI, I wanted to give a little history about why the HCI is evolved into the picture, or in last I'll say maybe last in 1 decade. See, initially the infrastructure was it was very complex, where to buy products from the different vendors and integration, and especially the storage part, because lately there was no virtualization law. So earlier, the to start with, so the infrastructure was running on physical instances where you can install multiple services or multiple I'll say products in one's physical server. And then because of the dependency, you cannot provide full HA in terms of storage and also the compute. So that's why where the virtualization has come into the picture, where you can create VMs, so that you can easily copy, or you can easily mirror the VM, or you can easily take the backup on kind of an VM level backup or snapshot level backup. Even for the upgrade, it was very, to upgrade any product which are installed on the physical server it's a little challenging, because in case if something goes wrong, then it's very hard to bring it back to the previous state, right? So for that, this checkpoints, where it helps very lot, it helps a lot, where in terms of getting the instances into the previous state, in case if something happens while upgrading or migrating some products or services. So again, when the virtualization came, and the SAN part, which is the storage area network, which is also giving a great, I'll say, performance in terms of providing the high availability and also getting the more IOPS. And again, to maintain the SAN and to maintain the virtualization, to maintain the physical server, again, it's a complex in terms of, because to maintain SAN, you need to have an separate SAN switches, right? So again, there is a separate switches for networking and separate switches for fan, configuring it. And also in case if any of the LUN, which is a logical unit number, is missing from the host, which means that you will lose the control on the servers, and eventually the servers will be into the saved state where you cannot access, or you cannot, all the services will go down. So again, after SAN, so now, because again the SAN is from the different hardware, and it is sitting in the different hardware where it is connected through fiber. And again, there is a like the technology evolves, seeing that there is an more gaps in SAN, where sometimes the LAN disappears due to some HB adapters, and due to so many reasons. And also in case if switch goes down, then all the storage will be disconnected from the host, right? So these are all very complex environment, or complex architecture. So that's why the HCI came into the picture, where you in this HCI, the complete SAN part is eliminated. Like, you don't need a separate storage, which is a sandbox provided. There is various vendors are there who can provide the SAN, like HP, 3PAR, EMC Square, and then Hitachi. There is an NetApp storage. For all these are different vendors who are providing the storage solutions. So now HCI eliminated that storage part, including the SAN switches, so that it reduces the complexity of the complexity of the design in the infrastructure, and where it also provides the high performance with the better IOPS, because the storage is directly connected to the server, which means that there is no the data is not traveling through some either copper or some fiber media. It is directly attached to the node, and whereas the CPU and the RAM is directly accessing the data from the storage, which are directly connected. So that is the HCI, and that is the history of from last 3 to 4 decades, how the infrastructure is evolved from the physical to virtual, and again virtual to micro or nano instances. Now even the containers and the these nano services where you can also deploy in Fabulix. So was that clear, Arshad?
Yes, thank you very much, Pradeep. Basically, Fabulix has come up with an state-of-the-art infrastructure virtualization solution, which is now in the modern sciences known as hyperconverged, where, as Pradeep has elaborated, that storage has been eliminated, and now it is on, with the servers, you have the storage, with the servers, you have the virtualization management. And Fabulix is, making an leap with compared to other HCIs, that they are only offering compute and storage virtualization and management solution. Fabulix comes up with the firewall plus top of the rack switching, and Microsoft Hyper-V platform and Microsoft Azure platform. So if you can just Pradeep, elaborate a little bit about the association of Fabulix with the Microsoft Hyper-V and Azure.
Yeah. So we have those things in the upcoming slides, but however, I'll just give a on a nutshell what is the deep association with Azure or with Microsoft products with Fabulix. So we use the core engine is in Fabulix. So the core engine is Hyper-V, where it provides the virtualization on compute. And when it comes to storage, we do use S2D, which is again powered by Microsoft. It's a kind of an vSAN where VMware has a vSAN, and Nutanix has a Prism, the storage part. So the same way in Microsoft has came up with the S2D, which is nothing but the S2D can pick up all the disks which are connected to multiple nodes, and it can bring all the I'll say disks into a single pool. From out of that, you can create the different volumes with the different size and with the different RAID levels. So what I mean is, like, you can create a 2 TB volume with the mirroring, or you can also create one more LUN or volume with the 3 TB or 5 TB, again on the parity, right? So either write 5, write 6. Similarly, so what it actually provides is, it provides the ease of creating or using the multiple writes without there is no hardware dependent to create a write levels. So that is the beauty of the concept of the S2D or vSAN, or even from the Nutanix side. So without hardware or without RAID card, it can bring all the disks into a single pool and a big chunk. And from there, you can create a small chunks based on your requirement. If you need let's say you need high performance LUN, then you can create a 2 TB or 3 TB with complete mirroring. So this provides the high availability, or along with the redundancy, where in case if one node goes down, so your storage will be still will be accessible and the service will be up and running, because the data is stored, like let's say you write, you save some 100 MB of Word document. So that document in the storage, it will automatically save uh, one location in one node and another location in another node. So which means that if in case if one node goes down, so other node, with the other node where the data is saved, you can still, the servers or the instances will be still up and running. So that is the level of redundancy that we are providing. And when it comes to the operating system, so we start with the 2019. So we can also go with the 2022. And similarly, in case if customer is already having, where all like most of the instances are running in Azure, and because of the cost, they wanted to go with the hybrid solution where the non-production servers can be bring back to the on-prem, and production VMs can still running on the Azure or on the AWS or even in the GCP. So it is where it provides the integration between the cloud, uh, between the on-prem and cloud, and provides the hybrid setup where you can create few instances in on-prem and few instances in Azure, where you can save the cost and also like let's say the performance, like because when you go to the cloud, so if you want to increase the performance, automatically you have to increase all the components, I mean 70% of the components. But whereas with the Fabulix, the architecture or the design, it is made in such a way that it can automatically scale up and it can automatically scale down based on your performance, right? So that is the beauty of especially on the architecture and design from the Fabulix HCI. So I hope I'm clear on that. So going back to the slide. So in this slide, you can see that in one Fabulix solution or the platform, you can have the server pool and you can also have the VDI pool. So which means that you can also create the virtual or the I'll say the virtual switches by rather than the hardware dependence. You can run the switch as an VM as an instance, and from there you can configure with the different VLANs and with the different ports, and you can also restrict the number of or the amount of bandwidth that needs to be allocated to each instance which is running in on Fabulix platform. Similarly, so though the server pool and the VDI pool is running on the same physical instance or on the same bare metal, but still you can restrict the communication between the multiple environments. Like let's say you can say that, okay, I don't my VDIs or the specific department VDIs should not touch any of the production servers or any of the other incidents. It could be prod, it could be dev, it could be test, it could be sandbox, right? So based on that, you can easily configure and you can easily manage them, restricting the communication or allowing the specific ports to communicate between the multiple environments in the server pool, and also between the multiple VDI departments. And you can create each policy for each department, and you can configure the policies that in such a way that this department should not access so and so resources, and this department or this pool of VDI should not access so and so resources, and similarly for the server pool also. And on the VDI, where you can also mention or you can also configure that, okay, in case, let's say you have a 3 node cluster, and just imagine that, okay, like out of 3, 2 server goes down. So, or which means that you are going to lose the like, let's say, because of it cannot migrate the complete, because we don't do oversizing. So based on the sizing we gave, where you can have insufficient resources where you can migrate. In case if one node goes down, all the instances which are running in one node can be automatically migrated to other two nodes. So, but in case, in any of the case, if two node goes down, you can configure that, okay, in these situations, let uh, my server instance or my server pool should not stop at any of the instance. If that is the case, you can temporarily drop the VDI pool or the specific VDIs or the specific server environments, right? You can configure in such a way that, so that the production, even though two bare metal goes down, your production instance will be still up and running, right? So that is the level of I'll say, we are providing on the redundancy, not only on the compute, not only on the storage, but also on the prioritizing the VM, where it provides the resources to the primary servers or to the key services. And when it comes to the architecture and design, so far we talked about providing the high availability or redundancy on compute and storage. So you might ask, what is the redundancy on the networking and security or the firewall? So we have two models. One is you can go. So we are saying that for the compute and storage, it by default, it comes the redundancy and high availability. So in case if customer wanted to have an high availability or full high availability, so which means that we will provide 2 switches and 2 firewalls to provide to provide high availability and also redundancy on the complete platform, including all the device, all the components within the Fabulix rack. And even for the node, like let's say for each server, so we have the standard is 225G ports. Each port have the 25G capacity. So, and these 2 ports can do load balancing, and also it will act as a redundancy. In case if one switch goes down, all the traffic will be routed to one switch using one port. So, so that is how it is designed, and I'll say providing the high availability and redundancy. So with this, that is about on the on-premises design and architecture and deployment models. So this is Fabulix Cloud is nothing but a Fabulix Edge. So in this, where I mentioned during giving the introduction about Fabulix or products under Fabulix umbrella, where it has 2 models. One is on-prem and another one is cloud, which is nothing but Fabulix Edge. So both are same, and where provides most all the services which are the enterprise cloud providers are providing. So in this, the key or the primary part is the complete, I'll say, the primary layer of the cloud, which is compute, storage, networking, and security. We used our Fabulix HCI. And on top of it, we have a different tools and applications where it can for maintaining the complete infrastructure, and for and tracking for incidents and request, and for change and problem, even for the release, and maintaining the CMDB, and all these things will be taken care by Fabulix Service Manager. And we have our monitoring solution, which is a Starwatch, again to provide, again to manage or to monitor the complete cloud network. And we also do have IAM, which is an identity and access management, where it provides the security on the accessibility and delegating the access to the different people and from the different tenants. And on top of it, we also have an PKFX where it provides the security for each and everything. There is a cert-based authentication and cert-based replication between the multiple locations and multiple sites. And we do also uh, use where, let's say, you have uh, somewhere you have provisioned or you created the instances in edge. Let's say in Dubai we have one edge, so you created all the instances over there. And we also do, there is a three level of or three mode cloud environments where we are running. One is edge, and one is core, and another one is hub and core. So which means that if in case if something happens on edge, so your data will be still safe and saved in the hub. And similarly, in case if let's say hub is down, so still we are having the data sitting in core. So that is how we designed our cloud, which is nothing but edge, and including like I'll say 90% of the products or the tools and the applications that we use, including the hardware provided by iSquared, and 10% of other security tools we are using the third party. So in this slide, you can see that, like, let's say, well, we talked about on-prem and we also talked about Fabulix Cloud and Azure, and how it can be, like, let's say, because we have seen that like there is a I'll say potential in the market who can provide the solution end to end. So when I say end to end means like the requirement comes from the data center, we can fulfill. The requirement comes from the maybe the head office or primary site, we can fulfill. And also for similarly branch and satellite. And in case if customer, like let's say, can't afford to go or to set up the DR or to implement the DR setup, maybe in the different location, which is that is going to put a very huge you have to invest huge commercials on to set up the DR in the different location. So for those kind of customers, what we do is like we do complete data center, we address complete data center requirements. And similarly, for the, like let's say, for primary uh, primary site or for satellite site, we do address that. And similarly for DR, let's say you don't need to have a separate DR, you don't need to implement a separate DR. So you can use the DR as a service, which are again using where you can provision in Fabulix Edge or Fabulix Cloud, where it can automatically set up, or you can automatically set up active or passive DR. So that kind of where it reduces a lot of cost on implementing the separate DR solution. And by default, where if you buy Fabulix, that automatically creates your private cloud. So which means that you have a separate browser based where you can log in and where you can create a VM as Azure. Like whatever you are doing once you log into Azure portal, whatever you are doing in Azure, like creating a VM, creating a VLAN, and opening certain port communication and tracking where in which location it is sitting and where the replication is happening and how it is integrated to cloud and how the backups are going on, either having own setup in on-prem or also using Azure backup service or even using Fabulix backup service. You can use all these things and you can integrate it and you can see in a single management window, even without logging into the to any instance. It could be VDI, it could be server. You can access or you can see what data is there in C drive, what data is there in other additional drives, and what is the firewall policies, and what is the you can install the roles, you can install the features, you can promote. That is so everything that you can do without logging into the server. So that is the beauty of with the Fabulix HCI, and where you can also integrate to Azure, and you can log into Azure and you can still monitor and you can still see what all servers are running in on-prem, and similarly what all services are running in Azure. So you can see both of them, either log into Azure portal or log into Fabulix HCI portal. So now we are going to talk about product positioning. Like we talk like we already discussed most of the positioning or positioning models. So one is definitely you can, if any of the requirement on refreshing the hardware in data center, or upgrading the hardware in data center, or uh, like let's say simplifying the data center from multiple racks to a single rack, or to a very small, because you know that how expensive is when you go with the co-location with the data center providers in the market. So keeping that in mind, so it reduces that kind of reduces that kind of a data center footprints, where in a single rack, and well, it depends on also on the setup and environment, or the infrastructure, how big you wanted to implement. But uh, like you can reduce I'll say at least 40% of the space when you have all with the existing solution in place. So that is the data center modernization. So we also we can also implement the VDI setup on Fabulix. As I mentioned, both server pool and the VDI pool can set up or can integrate together. And the VDI pool that you can log into, you can log into the secure browser, and you can also integrate MFA or even SSO to that browser. And from there, you can once you log in, then you will be able to see all the VDIs which are provisioned based on your department and based on your department card, and where you might, like let's say since few cases where you'll be accessing like let's say both infra and development VDIs. So still, based on your level of access, or based on your added to number of groups, and based on the department, you'll be able to see uh, like multiple VDI pools based on the department. And these VDIs, I mean the VDI pool, it's not a separate console where you can uh, restrict the access or you can delegate the access. It is as much as maintaining the Active Directory. If you know how to maintain Active Directory, it is that's easy to maintain the VDI in VDI environment. And high performance computing is especially like let's say for multimedia industry or for gaming industry, or for doing such a huge operations or processing. If any of the organization need more processing power, including the storage and compute, then we also address that high performance computing based on their requirement. And the edge compute is nothing but again Fabulix Cloud, where it can address multiple services. And we also like let's say creating the containers is like, if you go with the legacy mode, then you need to create one VM, and after that, or physical server, and after that, within that VM or within that instance, you have to create the container, or you have to create the containers, right? But whereas with the Azure Kubernetes service on Fabulix platform, without creating a VM, or without creating it's not hardware dependent, or it's not VM dependent, or VM instance dependent. like you can create containers directly on the cluster itself, which can automatically provide the scale up and scale down, and which use the Azure Kubernetes service. So in this slide, we are going to talk about Fabulix features, and most of the features we already addressed, right? Like what exactly that we do use and what services that we do have in Fabulix. But I wanted to highlight a few uh, specific on especially the scalability. You can scale horizontally and vertically, and you can go up to 64 nodes in a single cluster, as I mentioned. And also you can go for stretch cluster. So this stretch cluster help you to, uh, let's say you have 3 node cluster in primary data center. And similarly, you have another one data center in the same metropolitan city, and uh, where it is connected with the dark fiber. And so in those instances, you cannot migrate, or the platform or the solution cannot migrate the VM automatically from one location to another location. Usually that is one. But whereas with the stretch cluster option, where the cluster is created in on-prem, and the servers which are running in DR, you can still add these bare metals into the production stretch cluster or into the production cluster. So that in case if, like let's say if you want to do any maintenance mode, you can migrate the VM from one node, or from the production nodes to a DR nodes, right? So that is providing the DR on high availability. In the virtualization, like we do support uh, all the uh, operating systems, including Linux, Citrix, and all Linux flavors and Citrix flavors, and also the client uh, operating system, and also the server operating system. And the hardware and the software is tightly integrated together, and which can provide the high performance using the software defined networks, software defined storage, and software defined compute. And we do have also the REST APIs, where in case if you want to integrate, or if you want to like let's say set up, in case if any alert comes, automatically generate that either into the ticketing system or into the monitoring solution or sending an email. So those kind of setup we do also support, and where that provides the I'll say 50% of the 50% of the load on the service desk team, where it takes care of the automation and the storage. So we do have data encryption and data deduplication based on the you can select with the multiple options. Like let's say if you want to deduplicate uh, certain percentage on this specific disk, or this specific volume or LUN, you can do that data deduplication and also the data encryption. And private cloud, as I mentioned, by default, Fabulix comes with Fabulix has the capability to create a private cloud with the multi-tenancy. So multi-tenancy is nothing but, let's say, uh, if any of the customer wanted to buy Fabulix and create their own private cloud, or create their own cloud and offer the services what we are offering, if they want to offer the same services to their customers, it is all that is the I'll say that the biggest functionality we have added, where you can create a multiple tenants, and you can though they are like all the tenants data is sitting in the same physical or same bare metal devices, but still virtually they are isolated between the tenants. So the tenant A cannot see the tenant B data, and similarly tenant B cannot see the tenant's A data. In fact, so even the I square doesn't or cannot see the data where the customers are saved or created the instances. So we are providing that level of security in their private cloud, and also having an with along with the firewall and switches. So again, all firewall, switch, and the compute and the nodes are connected through fiber, and it starts with the or standard is 25G, but we can also start with the 10G, and based on the complete solution can be tailored based on the customer requirement. So that is the beauty of the product. And for the management stack, so we do have a Fabulix Cloud Manager, uh, where it provides the different portals for tenants and for admins, where they can create a VM and they can see what is the configuration, and they can log into the VM, and they can also set up or scale in or scale out the on the compute or even on the storage part. So with this, we are done with the Fabulix HCI. So as I mentioned in our call, so I'll be taking only 2 minutes to explain the Fabulix Service Manager. So Fabulix Service Manager is an ITIL compliant ticketing solution, as you can compare with the big players in the market like ServiceNow, Remedy, Manage Engine, Jira. So all these things, all these products we are competing all those products with all those products, and with the all the features and functionalities what they are providing, we are also providing. But to set up, like if you go or if you talk about ServiceNow, any of the ticketing system, it takes at least months together to configure and to say that okay, this functionality is ready, or this the system is ready to use. But whereas we can the sys or the Fabulix Service Manager, we can set up within a week. Let's say saying that Fabulix Service Manager is ready, uh, you can use it for the production. So that is the level of deployment that uh, we have created with a very faster and accurate. So, and one more functionality what we are providing and what others are not providing is security incident management, which is a complete workflow for security incident. If anything detects in the network, which has an potential to breach the network or breach the data, right? And workflows and automations are next level of functionalities what we are providing, and including the dashboards and report as per the business functionalities. And as other providing, we are also providing the incident management, request management, problem knowledge, and the change and release management, along with the different SLAs. So that is about Fabulix Service Manager. So now, can we go for Keshav?
Hello. Yeah, thank you very much, Pradeep. Yeah, I think we have some questions. Let me just have a look at it. Pradeep, are you able to see the Q&A that? Hello.
Yeah, I'm seeing on it.
Yeah. So that's all we have, I think. And thank you very much for joining. So this is all about Fabulix services that we have, and you can get in touch with us, or you can get in touch with respective account managers to get more details, and we'll help you out from there.
So, Keshav, I would like to address the last question, which was texted by Insa.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Yeah,
the question is, Fabulix is hardware-based or software-based solution. So Fabulix is it comes both hardware and software. So it is basically one solution or for your complete infrastructure. It comes like it comes along with the hardware and software. Yeah, that is the only question I can see.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. If you have any other questions, please you can type it there. Q&A options are there just on the screen. Then we'll just wait for 2 more minutes. If you anything, you can just type it there. Yeah, thank you, Pradeep, and thank you, everyone. Since we don't have any question, I think this is done for the day, and we'll wait for a few more seconds.
Keshav, we have just got 2 new questions. Can you just check on that? 2 people have raised their hand.
So the question is, what about backup? Could you clarify? Yeah, so we do provide, or it's a native Windows backups service that we can offer, but we don't have a specific backup solution yet. But you can use any of the backup solution which you have existing, or like all the backups are is compliant with that. Costing and ROI will be explained separately. So Arshad or Mudal, can you? And the last question is, how can sales teams can handle objections from clients who are concerned about brands like Dell, EMC, HP, etc.? Yes, so I can give you, because most of the, even if you take Dell or HP or like, even if you can take Lenovo, there are like other so many vendors who are providing the hardware, right? So most of the, like, these are all I'll say the Intel is not by EMC or HP or Lenovo or somebody. Intel has, because everybody use the different components from the different vendors, and when they are assembling it and they are providing the, like, let's say few they are upgrading their firmware and they are releasing it in the market. And similarly what we are also doing, so we are actually taking the servers from Supermicro, and Supermicro is one of the known brand for where we can go with the high performance and also for big entities. Yes, this session will be recorded, so you can get in touch with your respective account managers so they can give access. So Keshav, this question is for you.
Yeah, so recording will be available with us, and you can reach out to your account manager. Otherwise, you can reach out to DBCom team or Fabulix team.
So one more question from Abdullah. Firewall solution depends on which system? So the firewall is, we do use firewall and switch are from Fortinet. For the price list, please get in touch with your account managers. Ahmad. And similarly for Rakesh Kumar, costing and ROI will be explained separately. Please get in touch with your account manager.
Yeah, price list will be sharing.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
would like to comment on that to all our participants. Actually, HCI is a made tailor-made as per the requirements of a customer according to their applications and workloads and their size of data. So there is no list pricing in terms that like a server or any other switches or like this one. The basic configuration comes with minimum 3 nodes and firewall and the switch. So it depends on the server hardware configuration and the workloads you are going to put on that. According to that, there will be a price always made back to back. Same is the case with other hyperconverged infrastructure products like VxRail from Dell, Nutanix, HP SimpliVity, OpenStack. These all HCIs, they first size your requirement, and according to the sizing, there will be a price worked out for you. So there is no standard sizing, but definitely what we can say that a basic solution of Fabulix 3 nodes simplified solution would start somewhere around 40 to 50,000 US dollars, and then it can go up to up to $500,000 US dollars, depending on the workloads and the requirement you are going to host on that one. So price list is when you have any inquiry, please come back to us, give us your scenario. We will design a solution for you, and then we will give you the best possible prices. Hope I have answered the question.
If you have any further question, you can always write down to us, and our email ID is sales@datavoice.com. So if any questions, you can.
Keshav, can you just type that in the chat box, please?
Yep.
So from one of the attendees, so they are asking about the difference between Fabulix and Nutanix, please. So you can get in touch with your account manager. It's not only we can provide the difference between not only with Nutanix, but also with the other brands, right? Where you can find all the differences between Fabulix, HP, VxRail, Nutanix, all these other players in the market.
Yeah, thank you, Pradeep, and thank you, Asad, for joining, and thank you, everyone. And I think
Thank you.
thank you for asking all those questions, and thank you for your time. And we'll be sending recordings to everybody, and you can expect on your email, on your inbox. Please do check within 1 or 2 days. And thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.